You know that feeling sometimes, like, is there? Is there more? When it comes to, well, sex, an experience that's truly exceptional.
Like you're close to something amazing, maybe, but haven't quite cracked it.
Exactly. That's kind of the territory we're jumping into today.
Right. And our guide for this particular deep dive is, shall we say, pretty uninhibited.
Huh? Uninhibited is definitely the word. We're diving headfirst into Gary C. Halbert's book from 2004, Killer Orgasms, How to Have the Best Sex Humanly Possible.
And, yeah, let's be clear up front. This book doesn't exactly pull its punches.
Not at all. It's explicit, really direct.
Yeah.
But Halbert's goal, or at least how he puts it, is about bringing more excitement, more, joy into our intimate lives.
What hits you right away is just how frank he is. No beating around the bush.
Totally. He basically says, look, if you want some magic voodoo words, this isn't it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this, real rebellious vibe against anyone he calls the fun police.
It definitely signals you're in for a very unfiltered look at things. You'd agree.
Oh, absolutely. So the mission for this deep dive, for anyone listening right now, is to kind of sift through Halbert's, let's say, enthusiastic viewpoint.
Try and pull out some genuinely useful ideas, maybe.
Yeah, useful insights, maybe some surprising facts about getting better sex, better relationships, all through his lens. Okay, so where do we start? Gauging interest.
Makes sense, given the topic. Halbert has some, well, intriguing thoughts on figuring out if someone's genuinely interested, and crucially, if an orgasm is, the real deal.
Right. He uses that poker player analogy. How's that work?
Well, it's fascinating, really. He connects it to our involuntary physical reactions, like a good poker player spots tells.
Mm-hmm.
Halbert says pupil dilation is a key sign, an unconscious one. Your pupils get wider when you see something you desire. It's primal.
Huh. He even mentions how photos of attractive women often seem to have those larger-looking eyes, like it taps into that response.
It's an interesting point, yeah.
Mhm.
Fits with the idea of these subtle, involuntary cues. And he pushes this further with orgasms.
How so?
He compares it to sneezing. You know how you can't really fake a sneeze without closing your eyes?
Right, yeah.
That involuntary eye-closing thing. He sees that as similar to other physical signs during a genuine orgasm. Changes in breathing, muscle tension, things that are hard to consciously control.
Like what a lie detector measures.
Yeah.
Sweating, heart
It's-
rate.
Exactly. Stuff that's mostly outside our conscious control.
Yeah.
Suggesting authenticity.
Okay, interesting. So these are potential signs of real arousal, real orgasm.
Mm.
So say you picked up on genuine interest. What's next, according to Halbert? Finding a killer woman.
Mm-hmm. And this is where his perspective gets very specific.
Yeah.
He tells the story, quite revealing, about a woman named Nicole from Santa Monica. On paper, she sounded amazing.
Wow.
Beautiful, successful executive, great personality, even a gourmet cook.
Wow. The whole package, right.
Yeah.
So what went wrong?
Well, despite all that, the relationship apparently ended in frustration.
Yeah.
He doesn't spell out why right here, but it clearly sets him up for some very different dating experiences later.
And those sound like quite the contrast.
That's one way to put it. He talks about dating women he describes as, and these are his words, mentally deranged, emotionally crippled, delirious with drugs, or perhaps just plain airheaded.
Oof. That's quite a list. You can kind of feel the frustration building there, maybe.
Definitely a sense of disillusionment, yeah. Which leads him to do something pretty drastic.
What was that?
He actually stopped dating for a while, voluntarily. Said he just couldn't face another disappointment.
Okay.
And it was during that break, that self-imposed celibacy, that he cooked up this, well, pretty unconventional plan.
The famous, or maybe infamous, full-page ad in the LA Weekly.
That's the one. Super bold move. It's long, so we can't show it, but he includes the whole text in the book. It really shows you where his head was at.
Let's break down some of the key bits. The headline alone is designed to filter people. Are you more than just another pretty face? Generous, creative businessman wants to find a hot, sexy woman with a good sense of humor.
Very direct, sets the tone immediately, and then he dives right into describing his day.
Like super detailed, right? Early rising, jogging, Vince's gym, tanning bed. Then this packed work schedule with film stuff, writing, business.
Yeah, paints a picture of someone driven, successful. What does that kind of detail signal to you?
He's definitely establishing himself.
Yeah.
But then he pivots, right? Highlights what's missing.
Exactly. All this professional success, but then he talks about evenings and weekends spent sulking. It really points to an emotional gap he's trying to fill.
And the self-description. Reasonably attractive, witty, tan, beard. Even mentions a couple of interesting gray spots,
Mhm.
trying to be appealing but real.
Yeah, not some perfect ideal. And what's really telling is how upfront he is about past relationships, marriages, serious ones, flings.
Mhm.
And his point is he'd met women who looked great but had, significant issues beneath the surface. He's learned he's trying not to repeat mistakes.
He even throws in quick examples like Karen the would-be prostitute and Claudia the actress, though not much detail. Just illustrates the point, I guess.
Right, they serve as examples of what he doesn't want, which leads right into his very specific don't wants list. This is where he really lays it out.
Okay, what's on that list?
No women with desperate dilemmas he feels he can't fix. No one looking for immediate marriage or moving in. No sexual swingers or, interestingly, sexual prudes.
And that one about women who can't stand prosperity. What do you think that's about?
It strongly hints he's been in situations where maybe a partner resented his success or the lifestyle. He wants someone comfortable with financial well-being, maybe even appreciative of it.
Makes sense. And then he lists his preferences.
Hmm.
Women who take care of themselves, slender, healthy, slim waist. His words again. Rather generous breasts, pretty face, and importantly, a good sense of humor.
He even clarifies what generous means in the headline. Not that he's a financial pushover and definitely not paying for sex. Very upfront.
He also warns about weird replies you get from personal ads, tries to position his ad as sincere compared to the usual strangeness.
Yeah, reinforcing that he's serious. And he wraps up that section by saying, look, this might seem entertaining, but the goal is dead serious.
Yeah.
Find an ideal long-term partner. This wasn't just a whim.
Okay, so this whole detailed, very specific ad, why did it work? What did he say made it successful?
That's the $1,000,000 question, or maybe the $700 question, since that's what he paid for the ad. He points to a few things. First, passion.
Passion.
Yeah, genuine enthusiasm. He quotes advertising guys like Claude Hopkins saying, you can't be boring, you gotta let your excitement show.
So be authentic, be enthusiastic about what you offer, don't be falsely modest.
Pretty much. His idea is aim squarely at the kind of person you really want his foxes, and don't sweat it if you put off people who aren't a good match anyway. It's targeted.
Makes sense.
What else? Detail. Lots of it. He argues that genuinely interested women want a lot of information to see if there's a real click.
Acts like a filter, then.
Exactly. If someone's not right, all that detail will probably bore them or turn them off. Saves everyone time.
Okay. And then the truth about flaws bit.
Right. Nobody's perfect. Admitting some flaws makes the good stuff seem more believable, builds trust, makes you seem human.
More credible. Okay. And the last one.
Clarity. Use plain English, stuff people actually say. He even suggests reading it out loud to catch awkward bits.
So it sounds natural.
Yeah, make sure the message actually lands.
And the result. He claims it worked incredibly well. Attracted the cream of the crop, as he put it. That $700 investment, he argued, was way better than just leaving it a chance, which costs more time and heartache anyway. A scientific approach.
A very deliberate strategy.
Okay, so that covers the search for a long-term killer woman. But what about, well, times when the goal is maybe a bit more immediate? He has thoughts on that too, right?
Oh, indeed. For men maybe just looking to get laid, as the saying goes, Halbert suggests a rather unique tactic.
Uh-oh, what is it?
It involves Chippendale dancers, or similar male review shows you find in big cities.
Chippendales? Seriously? How does that work?
Okay, so his theory is this. During the actual show, it's women only in the audience.
Right.
And according to him, these women get really worked up, super enthusiastic. He contrasts it with guys at female strip clubs, saying the female excitement level is way higher. What do you think is going on psychologically there?
Maybe a sort of shared heightened energy? Less inhibition in that setting?
Could be. So it's this charged, female-focused environment. Then the show ends.
Yeah.
Other guys are allowed in then, but Halbert's advice isn't to go inside.
No, why not?
His idea is that the dancers have already done the foreplay, gotten the women, in his words, hot, wet, wild, and her inhibitions have flown out the window.
Okay. So where does the listener, this nice civic-minded gentleman, as he calls him, fit in?
He suggests waiting outside the club as the women are leaving.
Waiting outside.
Yeah. The theory is these women are leaving in this highly aroused state, maybe looking for, well, an immediate encounter.
And that encounter might happen with him?
The first decent-looking guy they see. Maybe right there in the parking lot, in your car.
Wow. He really just puts that out there. He uses that analogy, too, about feeding starving people.
Yeah, a very vivid comparison about the potential immediacy of it all. It's definitely direct, maybe a bit predatory feeling.
He frames it almost like a public service, doesn't he? With a dark sort of humor. Desperate, needy, attractive women.
It's certainly a strategy that makes you blink, highlights a very particular, maybe objectifying viewpoint.
Objectifying is a good word for it.
Hmm.
Okay, moving right along. For guys maybe looking for a different kind of killer woman, maybe more long-term with great sex, he has another big suggestion. Involves a passport.
That's right. His #1 recommendation for meeting a great woman, whether for amazing sex or a life partner with amazing sex, is basically go abroad.
And he's pretty blunt about his views on American women, isn't he?
He really is. He admits he holds a generally negative view, describes many as overweight, out of shape, demanding, unappreciative. It's a strong generalization.
But his reason why is kind of surprising.
It is. He actually puts a lot of the blame on American men.
Really?
Yeah, describes them similarly, often overweight, out of shape, bad lovers, basically undeserving of a great partner in his view.
Yeah.
It's a pretty harsh critique across the board.
Wow, okay, so if not America, where?
He points specifically to Costa Rica, tells stories about guys who spend time there and come back finding American women completely unappealing by comparison.
Because of the differences they see.
Big differences, yeah. He even mentions the average dress size, claims it's a 6 in Costa Rica versus a 13 in the U.S.
That's a big difference.
But beyond looks, he really hammers on the appreciative nature of Costa Rican women. Says it's their most astounding quality. Like, they react completely differently to attention or affection than American women might. Makes men feel like they're on another planet, he says.
He even found his own partner there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mentioned it in his newsletter.
He did, yeah. And points people to his website for that story. Then he brings up Brazil as another option.
What's the draw there?
Women who are, his words again, sex-craved. He uses this anecdote about Viagra smuggling to suggest it's a culture that really values sex.
Any practical tips for Brazil?
Stay in Ipanema or Copacabana in Rio. Check out a restaurant called Meia Pataca, and this nightclub called Help. Describes it as huge, 4 stories, packed with beautiful women outnumbering men, like 4 or 5 to 1.
Sounds intense. He gives a website for Costa Rica connections, too.
Yep, www.syriancostarica.com. But he's clear he gets no money from mentioning it. His main point on finding this kind of partner is just really forceful. Get out of the U.S., at least for a visit.
Okay, so we've talked about finding partners. Now he shifts gears a bit into this section called Interesting Facts About Sex. Seems kind of random.
It does feel like a bit of a grab bag at first. Like, he starts talking about side effects of drugs like Prozac and Zoloft.
For men.
Yeah, erection difficulties with Prozac, trouble climaxing with Zoloft. Contrast it with Wellbutrin, which he says has fewer sexual side effects, but maybe more anxiety.
Then he jumps to the biggest sexual complaint women have about men.
Yeah.
What is it?
Dirty hands and messy fingernails.
Serious?
Apparently. He really stresses clean hands for intimacy. Says even if they're rough from work, they gotta be clean. Ideal is soft, well-kept hands. Shows the importance of touch.
Okay, good tip. Then this idea of sex as a reward.
Yeah, instead of the guy just seeing it as his reward, he suggests framing it as a reward for her. Uses teasing, planting suggestive ideas, like maybe gently baiting her legs. What do you think the psychology is there?
Maybe creating anticipation. A bit of playful power dynamics.
Could be. Then he details this very specific technique for touching a woman, focusing on the G-spot.
How specific?
Like really specific. A 40-50-minute process. Relaxation, undressing together, gentle clitoral rubbing, then 30-45 minutes plus of G-spot rubbing.
Wow.
1 or 2 fingers, changing pressure, different motion circles, up, down, watching her reactions, whispering things like, I've got you. He even says to notice changes in lubrication. Very instructional.
Okay. Then he's got 2 almost unknown secrets for rock-hard erections. What are those?
First is mental. Use your secret fantasies. Not cheating, he says, just a tool. He gives his own example involving oral sex fantasies.
And second?
Physical, he calls it plumbing. Basically, keep your blood vessels clear with a low-fat diet and aerobic exercise. Good blood flow is key. But he also mentions Viagra, Levitra, Cialis as quick fixes. So, mind and body.
Gotcha. He also talks about a scientifically proven aphrodisiac.
Yeah, something called fire play, made by a woman in Miami Beach. Claims it makes women instantly want sex. With men or women.
Interesting claim. Then there's that provocative line about what lesbians know about oral sex that men don't.
He implies men are kind of losing out because they don't know these things.
Yeah.
Pretty direct, maybe controversial.
Yeah. Then the single most important thing a woman can do to be more attractive.
Simply be approachable. Friendly face, open body language. He tells a story about him and his buddies getting shot down by women. They didn't even find that attractive, just because the women seemed closed off. Approachability is key.
Okay. And for a man, what's the most important thing he can do? It seems more complex.
It is. He separates attraction, that initial spark based on rarity, novelty from affection, which you earn. So don't tell a stunning woman she's hot. She hears it all the time. It's not rare. But telling an average woman she's beautiful can work. The main thing is to seem rare yourself.
How do you do that?
Be different. Know about Mozart if everyone else likes Beethoven. Use humor if the vibe is serious. But the absolute crucial thing, show interest in her as a person before anything sexual.
Okay. He has those 3 Bs, right?
Yeah. Be desireless. Don't seem overly eager sexually at first. Have your own life, maybe other women interested. Second, be excellent in her presence. Do cool stuff when she can see. Third, be gone. Let her chase a bit. Don't smother her.
Creates intrigue.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he gets into some really specific, maybe graphic stuff.
Yeah, like a way to tell if your spouse has cheated recently involves smell. Suggestions for longer erections using cock rings or herbs. Oral sex as foolproof contraception. Spit don't make babies, he says. And identifying the perineum, the taint, as a male pleasure spot.
Right. Then the anchors idea. What's that about?
Subconscious links. Like how a song or smell can instantly trigger a mood or memory. Oranges and Christmas, maybe. He says, create positive anchors for arousal. Maybe a certain scent, music. And avoid negative ones, like don't argue in the bedroom. Protect the space.
Smart. Then he claims teasing can be more enjoyable than orgasm.
For women, yeah.
Yeah.
Says most women love being teased, except maybe very insecure ones. He describes that delayed orgasm technique, man in control, barely entering, pulling out, telling her not to move, builds insane anticipation.
Intense and life is foreplay.
Means seduction isn't just a bedroom thing, it's ongoing, woven into daily life. He references Robert Greene's Art of Seduction, creating desire all the time.
Okay. Then he gets very specific about touching her hot spots.
Yeah, after general touching, focus on 3 main areas, he implies them. Mentions gently grabbing and pulling the outer labia near the thigh. Says the whole crotch is sensitive, not just the clitoris. And stresses starting slow, letting your hand just rest there first to build warmth. Slow foreplay is key.
And he adds more on teasing with the tongue and words.
Tease her lips. Tell her specific parts are beautiful, like her lips. Whisper in her ear, nibble. Tell her exactly what you want to do to her clitoris. Be careful inside the ear, but don't ignore them. Rub her whole breast like milking a cow, is his analogy. Squeeze her butt, imagining you're gently pulling the clitoris via connected skin.
Wow, very descriptive. And teasing the mind.
He calls it the most powerful player spot. Playfully tease her about random things, what she says, how she drives, her shoes. Like a big brother, mixing compliments, but he thinks most women enjoy the teasing because it's confusing, a double message.
Okay. Then reigniting passion in long-term relationships.
He talks about the 18-hour plan. Over 10 days, partners alternate being in charge of the pumping and grinding to rediscover what pleases each other after the initial novelty fades.
A structured approach. He also gives 6 tricks to increase clitoral arousal.
Buy a finger vibrator. Use your finger gently, like a tongue. Use your tongue firmly, like a finger. Experiment.
Got it. What about dealing with PMS?
His advice: men can't fix it, don't try. If it's bad, maybe suggest a relationship timeout. If not possible, just understand what she says might not be what she means. Be understanding, or just be scarce. Don't make it worse.
Practical, maybe. Why don't pick-up lines work, according to him?
Women spot them instantly, hate them, makes them feel the guy thinks they're stupid. He says women decide in like 3 seconds if they'd consider sex. If it's a no, nothing changes that. If it's a maybe, the guy can still easily mess it up.
So avoid the lines. What's the deal with shoes?
He just throws it in there. Women find shoes interesting and important. Maybe about attention to detail.
The peak of the love clock.
Men are often horny in the morning, right? He says many women naturally peak around 2 p.m., suggests trying for some afternoon delight.
Scheduling sex. The amazing biocure.
Yeah, especially for busy couples, parents. Don't just wait for spontaneity that never comes. Make a date for sex. Focus on intimacy, appreciation, acceptance, anchored with touch. Like having an affair with your partner by sneaking off.
Okay. 4 ways to never worry about erection problems.
Relax, accept it happens sometimes. Let her give you oral, enjoy it. Focus on pleasing her with your mouth fingers. Use Viagra or supplements if needed.
He also teases flirting secrets women use.
Yeah, Implies most guys don't know them, but learning them makes life way more exciting. Doesn't list them here, though.
Okay, then that big list. 10 things a man must know about a woman for great sex. Hit some highlights.
Okay, never just believe what she says. She might be testing you. She likes it when you can say no sometimes.
Yeah.
Reads challenge. Opening doors still matters. Symbolic. Teasing is good, especially for attractive women.
She wants you to be a leader or expert in something. Women like to chase. Let her call more. Respect her pride. The phrase, "you please me," is powerful. And then there's that controversial one about controlling her orgasm to create a slave dynamic by making her beg using your name.
Right, anchoring his name to pleasure. Very intense.
Then how often men and women think about sex?
Men. Almost constantly, even while doing other things. Mode overlap. Women. Fully sexual when they're in the mood, but can completely switch off to other tasks.
The single biggest turn on for every woman.
Unexpected, small, thoughtful gifts from a confident guy. And showing appreciation for her publicly, in front of other women.
Success patterns for unattractive men.
Act like you're catnip to women. Total confidence.
And the most important quality for approaching women.
Self-esteem. That deep inner certainty of your worth lets you shrug off rejection. Different from just being cocky. Confidence built on self-esteem is key.
A normal sex act once forbidden.
Masturbation. Suggests couples watch each other, guide each other, teach what feels good, maybe take turns being teacher and student.
The 15-minute shower dressing change.
Yeah.
About scent again.
Yeah. For men, licorice scent, shampoo, body wash, maybe baby powder, no cologne. For women, pumpkin pie scent, cinnamon, no perfume. Appeals to primal senses, he thinks.
And finally, kissing.
Super important. Men underestimate it. Good kisser, good partner potential, bad kisser, bad sign. Keys. Clean, soft lips, lip balm. Clean white teeth, fresh breath. Mints, maybe licorice. He mentions that fireplace stuff again, too.
Wow, yeah, that was a lot of random specific facts and techniques. Then he shifts to testosterone.
Right. Sex and testosterone. But he starts with a big disclaimer. He's not a doctor. Go see one. Maybe find one who's open-minded because medicine changes fast.
Good point. He talks about male menopause.
Yeah, that gradual drop in testosterone as guys age leads to issues like erections not being as firm or frequent.
And Viagra.
Treats the symptom, the erection, but not the root cause, the low testosterone, according to him.
So he talks about testosterone replacement therapy, TRT.
Explains older methods, like injections, weren't great because they gave a sudden flood of testosterone, causing side effects. Body needs a slow, steady release, like it makes naturally.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are the better ways?
He goes through them. Injections are worst, he says, but common because doctors might not be up to date. Lozenges are better, but inconvenient, multiple times a day. Patches, like Androderm, are pretty good. Slow release, minimal side effects, maybe just skin irritation, but might not boost levels enough for everyone.
Okay. Then gels, like Androjo. Newer then, applied to the skin. Different strengths. He predicted it would be huge.
And the best, in his view.
Testosterone pellets, the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Implanted in buttock fat by a doctor. Slow, constant release for 4-6 months. Painless procedure.
Sounds efficient. He quotes a book, too.
Yeah. The Testosterone Syndrome by Dr. Eugene Shippen emphasizes how crucial testosterone is for energy, strength, sex drive, mood, even heart health. Says it's under-recognized. He strongly tells readers, buy this book.
Right.
Lists all the benefits of optimal testosterone.
So it's not just about sex drive.
Not at all. Energy, zest for life, memory, mood, slowing aging. But he also stresses you can't just rely on TRT.
Right. Exercise and nutrition are vital, too. He mentions Bill Phillips in EAS, Muscle Media 2000, says he doesn't personally like Phillips, but respects the results of their system.
And he hints at a simple morning routine.
Yeah, for 7 weeks, guarantees improvement physical and mental. Doesn't detail it here, though. He wraps up saying, this chapter have core info many doctors might not even know.
Okay, next up, sex and Dostonex. What's this about?
This, he says, is potentially life-changing for men over 40. Dostonex is a prescription drug, usually for things like Parkinson's, but it has a little-known side effect.
Yeah.
It's a powerful aphrodisiac for men, increases desire.
How would someone get it if it's for Parkinson's?
He actually suggests telling your doctor you have restless leg syndrome and that Dostonex helped before. A
Oh.
bit cheeky.
Huh. How's it different from Viagra?
Viagra is plumbing, helps blood flow for an erection if you're already stimulated. Dostonex works on the brain. Increases libido, makes erections stronger, more forceful, makes you, his words, horny as a goat.
Wow.
He calls it the biggest little-known sex secret in America, says to research it online. Also notes it's super expensive in the U.S., but Dirt cheap and easy to get in Costa Rica, no prescription needed.
Interesting. Then there's sex and PT-141, another drug.
Yeah, this one was new in development when he wrote the book. You inhale it.
And the effect?
Similar to Dostanex, increases desire but immediate, like instantly horny as a goat.
Goodness.
Wasn't on the market yet then, but he said it would be soon. Another thing to watch for and research online.
Okay, hormones, drugs. Then this chapter called The Big Contest. What on earth is that?
This one's presented as a joke, an anecdote. He brings up Julie Paris again, the Miami Beach lesbian who created Fireplay, says she's a close friend.
And the contest.
It's supposedly based on Julie claiming she's better at satisfying women than he is. So the contest involves flying attractive women to Miami, all expenses paid. They spend a night with Julie, a night with him, then write a report.
Seriously?
Well, he presents it seriously, then jokes that after being with him, they'd have zero interest in Julie. He even gives a P.O. box for women to send photos and letters to Gary and Julie. Says, hurry, high demand expected.
Okay. Which leads perfectly into the wrap-up and action plan.
Yeah.
Because that contest
Was totally a joke. He reviews it right away. The point was to highlight how important a sense of humor is. Says it's a major part of sex appeal.
Ah, okay. Makes sense now.
Then he gets serious again, reaffirms he's happy with his Costa Rican partner, hopes everyone finds that kind of love, intimacy, and great sex.
And then he lays out the final action plan, the key takeaways. Let's hit those quickly.
Okay, number 1, work on yourself first. Get in shape, deal with negativity before looking for someone. Quote Sex and the City about self-love.
Right.
2, be proactive. Don't wait. Write the ad. Go to the dancer places. Consider going abroad. Take action. Stop trying so hard to impress women. They decide fast anyway. Just don't be boring or toxic.
Oh.
Use pharmaceutical help if you need it. Viagra, testosterone, Dostanex, PT-141. No shame in it.
Dive.
Health matters. Exercise. Women don't want unhealthy guys.
Sex.
Communication. Talk about what works, what doesn't. Keep refining.
7.
Enthusiasm beats skill. An eager, considerate lover is better than a bored expert. Enthusiasm, consideration, respect, key. Feel good about yourself. It's attractive.
9.
Winner versus loser mentality. Rejection happens. Winners question the rejector. Losers question themselves.
10.
Confidence is sexy. Even unattractive, confident guys can succeed. Cites Mick Jagger.
Holy.
Action cures despair. Move, make mistakes. Handle fear by doing it scared.
12.
He's monogamous, but jokes Julie Paris might be a full-blown slut, keeping the humor going.
And 13.
Don't take it all so seriously. Problems happen. Laugh about it. Develop that sense of humor.
So yeah, a really extensive, sometimes wild, deep dive into Halbert's world of killer orgasms.
Definitely. Very direct, very opinionated, often provocative. But it encourages an active approach to sex and relationships, that's for sure.
Well, thanks for exploring all that with us. Gary Halbert's perspective. Certainly gives you a lot to think about. Some conventional, some really not. All delivered with his signature enthusiasm.
Indeed. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe the most killer orgasm, as he calls it, doesn't start in the bedroom at all.
Where then?
Maybe it starts with really understanding yourself and then having the guts to take bold, maybe unconventional action to find connection and pleasure.
That's a really interesting thought to end on. Something for everyone listening to mull over. Which of Halbert's ideas hit home for you, and maybe why? Until our next deep dive.